Hello and welcome to Stripe Dialogues. Today we are going to discuss use of air power in hybrid operation. By hybrid operations, what we mean are operations like Russia-Ukraine war or the use of air power in Afghanistan, for that matter in Vietnam, both by the US and the USSR at that point in time when USSR was existing, as also in Iraq, Syria, Turkey has been using it, and now in Gaza conflict also. What got me thinking about this was the article which I am going to just share with you all is this one. You see analysis. This is a report of Al Jazeera, although you can take Al Jazeera's report with a pinch of salt. Israel's ground attacks yield lots of bang and little success. Basically, they were referring to the kind of combat power which was used in Israel, and they said that the Hamas were very well prepared to deal with such a situation, so they did not have the right impact, which was justified. Uh, however, there is also this perception that the results are not proportionate to the effort applied. It's not that the results are not there; results are definitely there. There are very positive impact of the air power, especially in the hybrid operation. Air power, there is another issue related to air power, and I'm now referring to the direct action issue, which is it is said that it has angered the population wherever they are being used, which plays into the hands of the terrorists, and it leads to that repression operation cycle, and more number of terrorists are produced because of the use of air power, because you cannot be always right in your intelligence, and you cannot be always very precise to hit the terrorist directly. How true is this perception? Let's understand this with the help of our expert today. Welcome to the show, Air Marshal Tiwari. And I don't have to introduce Air Marshal Tiwari. He was the CNC of Central Command of the Air Force, which was looking after the entire, you can say, the central sector of our country, and was responsible for the air support, or for the matter air operations. I am wrong, not in the air support, but entire air operations of the country in this particular area. Over to you with this general overview. What I would like you to focus on is the kind of use of air power which is now being done in the current hybrid wars which are going on in the especially in the case of Syria, and also in the case of Ukraine and Gaza. And thereafter, what are its pluses and minuses? And then as we go along, we can chip in with some questions. Over to you. Floor is yours.
Good evening, sir, and thanks for inviting me in for this topic today and with this tribe. Uh, let's start with the what you said is hybrid war.
Yeah.
And how does a hybrid war start? Hybrid war generally will be started by someone who cannot fight a outright conventional war. If he
Absolutely.
fights the outright conventional war, he'll get bashed up. So he
Yeah.
resorts to other things which are not part of conventional. And when we say not part of conventional, it will include cyber, it will include space, it will include information, it will include non-state actors and all this.
Yeah.
It is like we are also facing that this thing bleeding by thousand cuts and all that. So this is slowly thing, and hybrid war is never fought for occupying a territory or for a victory. Like you cannot have a victory with the hybrid war because who is going to occupy the thing? It is just to trouble you and lower your morale or kind of mental tactics. Now, when something of this kind happens, the your own population is already troubled. You're already facing a loss. Now you get into a conventional war. Can you imagine if it was just this thing and Israel start the conventional thing and goes inside the thickly populated area like Gaza, it will land
Hmm.
up with more casualties. It already lost some 1,200 people, and a lot of them were from armed forces.
Okay.
So this is where the country who is using the air power, it uses the judgment, the destruction or the killing on the other side is balanced by the public opinion in his own country.
Hmm.
which justifies, because anywhere in the world, the biggest problem for any country is the body bags coming home.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose a single person, a single soldier to an enemy bullet. And
Correct.
especially when it is a non-conventional thing, it is a hybrid thing. You're not fighting a conventional war with the enemy. So with the result, this air power comes in. Now, if you've seen in this war, till the time that air fighting was going on and the Israel was dropping all the bombs, all the casualties were on the Hamas side.
Yeah.
Now, the only question comes in the degree of proportionality. How much of
Mm-hmm.
bomb? And that is opinion of the side from which you are asking.
Okay.
And as far as the this thing is concerned, again, the success is also depends on the opinion of the person whom you are asking. If you
Mm-hmm.
ask Israeli or any one in Israel or any public anyone in the public, they will say it has been a big success.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes.
ask Hamas or anyone on Hamas side, they will say that there has been so many civilian casualties.
Yeah.
Israel counters that the half of those people whom you are calling civilian are not civilian; they are Hamas guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, and it is being done all over the place. In fact, uh, right from the First World War, sir, when this trench warfare and all took place, there was a big discussion. There were studies, and the studies done by Trenchard and all those people who are the air power theorists. They said,
Mm-hmm.
had the air power been used, or in any future war, if you use the air power,
Mm-hmm.
the casualty and destruction is going to be much less than the trench war when you two people are facing each other and just bend on killing each other.
Okay.
If you use air power, only one guy gets killed.
Mm-hmm. That is
So
of your own side, of your own side. But on the,
that is the opposite side, and
yeah,
you
I
get
mean,
a quick victory because the air power will give you a quick victory. It will give you a very decisive victory.
mm-hmm.
And once this thing, like after Israel did this, and now the ground forces have moved in and occupied Gaza and Al Shifa hospital. Now
Mm-hmm.
imagine the situation had they not used the air power and moved on the ground and tried to occupy Al Shifa, it would have been
Mm-hmm.
1:1 fight.
Okay,
And
here I would like to just interject with the kind of narrative which is going on. The narrative is like this: that okay, the Israelis went with their air power, they were able to suppress the opposition because the Hamas was into tunnels, which is something like the lines which you are discussing of the World War I, magnet lines. But the question is, along with them, they use this brilliant stroke of using the civilians in front as their cannon fodder, I would say. But that resulted in a lot of international opinion going against the Israelis in terms of support, to the extent that the US also is now been forced to actually goad Israel into a truce. And this has impacted Israel's operations on Hamas, which continues to say that we are going to fight Hamas to the finish. Now, so what I'm trying to get at is, even in Afghanistan, same thing happened. That the direct use of air power resulted in more number of terrorists being created from the same population, because somebody lost his mother, somebody lost his father, and you know that. So whosoever, even who was in a neutral position or on the fence sitting side, got converted towards तालिबान या उनकी तरफ झुकने लग गया, है ना? तो ऐसा ही कुछ हम देख रहे हैं कि हमास को भी उसी तरह का फायदा मिलने की वो आ रही है, एंड हमास बड़ा कॉन्फिडेंट हो गया है। अभी वो बोलता है कि हमारी विक्ट्री है कि हमने फोर्स किया इजराइल को होस्टेज एक्सचेंज करने के लिए, उसके एक के बदले हमारे तीन छूट रहे हैं। So somewhere this narrative has been built by Hamas. But Israel says, look, we have got them, like you said, we have got them to their knees, and now they are forced to release our hostages. एंड आगे की जो सिचुएशन है वो बड़ी कॉम्प्लेक्स हो गई है। कल हमने इसके ऊपर डिस्कशन भी किया था कि हाउ शुड इजराइल नाउ गो अहेड विद इट। सो डू यू find a way out as to how the air can be gainfully utilized in such operations, especially in urban areas, because सीरिया में भी यही देखा गया था एंड यहाँ भी यही देखा गया है। So do you see any way out of this dilemma? I would say this is a dilemma.
sir, Air power will give you the victory. If you remember 2001, what happened in Afghanistan, when US went in, they bombed Taliban out of place, and they
Mhm.
within 2 or 3 months, or I think within a 1 month, they occupied the entire Afghanistan.
Yeah.
The problem took place after you start staying there and start running the country. That is not the air power's domain.
Mhm.
If you look at the Syrian war, and if you recall the photographs of Aleppo and Mosul and all these places, the places have
Mhm.
been bombed out of shape. And
Yeah.
only then the ISIS could be removed, and now whatever kind of peace is there, peace is there.
Mhm.
Now, how do you expect Israel to do anything other than this? When Hamas is, what is the Hamas's philosophy? Hamas's basic reason for existence, basic premise is that it does not want Israel to be there.
Mhm.
Eradication of Israel is the Hamas's basic philosophy. If
Mhm.
Hamas moves out of this, then Hamas will not be Hamas. Someone else will replace it.
Correct.
So they need to stick on it. So if they have got that philosophy, and so what should Israel do? Israel so far had the philosophy of mowing the lawn. They didn't want the Hamas to eradicate Hamas, because Hamas will be replaced by, could be replaced by something like ISIS, more extreme organization. So they'll
Mhm.
just keep it under control.
Yeah.
That happened in 2008. It happened in 2012. It happened in 2014. 2014 also Israel bombed Gaza, went up to the border but didn't enter much. Okay. Now this is the time when, and all those time Israel didn't lose 1200 people.
Mhm.
For some reason they compare that our population is this much and 1200 means 40,000 Americans. When you compare with American population, probably if
Mhm.
they compare with India, it will turn out to be a lakh or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
But there is no
Definitely.
logic in such comparison. 1200 people are 1200, and 1200 is a big number. So now
Mhm.
Israel didn't have any choice but to bomb that.
Mhm.
And Israel didn't have any choice but to declare outright that they don't want Hamas to be there anymore. They don't
Mhm.
want Gaza to be a threat anymore, and they
Yeah.
need to restore all the. So if that is the thing which Israel is holding, that is the base for Israel's operation, and Hamas's base of operation is eradication of Israel. So why should Israel lose any more soldiers in this?
Mhm. But I agree with what you have said that Israel will use its best weapon forward or best service in this particular operation, and so did the others do it, whether it was Syria or whether it was Afghanistan. But when the war gets prolonged and the civilians are involved in it, then I think there may be a need for us to revise the strategy for using air power in a manner that is much more precision based and least amount of collateral damages, so that you don't invite the kind of international pressure which Israel has to go through, or any other country. I'm not talking of only Israel. I'm talking, even if you take the Russian example, Russians have been always war criminal and this and that. The UN, like for example, UN gave a statement 3 days back that we need to examine war crimes in Gaza. Now, war crimes in Gaza would mean both sides. They have to examine the 7th October attack also, जिस दिन वो हमास वालों ने इनके ऊपर अटैक किया, वो भी तो war crime ही था. So similarly, they would do on the other side. But when you balance them out, I think Israel would become overall loser as far as this is concerned. So do you agree that maybe that there is a need for us to revise the doctrine for such operations for the use of air power, so that it is more gainfully used? And I think there is an integrated approach to be followed in such cases, especially
So,
where urban areas are very very thickly. I'm not talking of the jungle area, the urban area insurgencies or terrorism, where hybrid wars are being fought.
So Israel is a peculiar case. When
Mhm.
1948, when it was formed, after that the first prime minister of Ben Gurion, and in
Mhm.
his that national defense strategy, or whatever the document you call, the first line that he puts, that IDF can never lose a war.
Mhm.
because if IDF loses a war, Israel will cease to exist.
Mm-hmm.
So any action of IDF today follows that line, follows that
Okay.
principle. So they will do anything in their national interest. It is just a question of national interest. And I'm
Correct.
very sure if tomorrow we'll end up in a situation where there is a question of how many soldiers we are going to lose, or how many enemy combatant or enemy people who we are going to lose, we may also decide on the same line, because it will be very difficult to justify to your own countrymen that I want to save another country citizen. Probably he was supporting the guys who were killing us so far,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I get my own chaps killed.
So,
And again,
this.
it is a question of perception. And like what you're saying, war crime also, sir, wherever Israel is hitting, probably
Mm-hmm.
what you brought out earlier, Hamas is using those people as a shield.
Yeah, cannon fodder, shield
It
in
can
front.
fodder, but as per the Geneva Convention also,
Mm-hmm.
anything military target can be hit even in case the situation so demands. And the
Yeah.
tracer works both ways. So if they
Mm-hmm.
can trace the rocket is coming from a particular place and they go and bomb that place,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very sure with these kind of today the technology and all, they can always prove that how the rocket came and how they went ahead and hit it.
Mm-hmm.
So they will be justified in case the thing comes to that, that there is some justification of war crime, etc. It is just a question of proportionality, and that also I leave. I think it is for the people who are on the ground to decide how much is good and how much is not that good.
Okay, okay. So my next question to you is, uh, what changes do you suggest in terms of both, in terms of operations, as also in terms of use of certain air assets for such wars? I mean, now let's get into a much more remedial kind of a mode. We know that no country would like to allow its weapons to be, not being used. Unlike in Kargil, where we tried not to use the air power till it was forced upon us that once, unless you use the air power, we will not be able to scale the heights of Kargil, which were so dominating and so daunting. Our troops needed that kind of air power to get projected on those things. There were other restrictions as well, but I don't think ये जो बाकी countries हैं, they follow such restrictions. हम ही हैं जो हाई मॉरल ग्रैंड स्टैंडिंग ले लेते हैं ऐसे ऐसे इश्यूज में. बट एक्सपेक्टिंग दैट फ्रॉम इजराइल, आई थिंक, इज something which is not so. Do you think what changes are required for us to go ahead, in
So,
future?
so Israel is a peculiar situation. Even if we leave the Israel aside,
No, I'm leaving
I'm, I'm,
Israel now.
I'm just giving you the little bit background. So, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you consider US.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting in US, they fire Tomahawk missiles. They use this UAV and to drop the bomb or fire Hellfire missiles. Why
Mm-hmm.
are doing it? Because for if you just assess the cost of every kill,
Mm-hmm.
probably they are spending much more.
Mm-hmm.
But they also want to avoid the body bags coming back. They are least bothered that the missile falls on a wedding party, or it falls on Taliban or somewhere else, or some good guy get killed or bad guy get killed, till the time their own chap don't get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is American thing. You've seen Israeli thing. You look at what happened in Russia. Unfortunately, their tactics didn't work. Gerismo, who took over as a Russian chief, army chief in
Mm-hmm.
2012. In
Yeah.
2013 onwards, he started talking about hybrid war, and he said the effort in hybrid war and the
Mm-hmm.
convention should be 4:1.
Yeah.
So the four part is your cyber.
Hybrid.
It could
Yeah.
be hybrid. So he said now all the wars must be fought as a hybrid war. So it
Yeah,
should be information, it should be your cyber, it could be that non-state actors, although you may send your army guys only without uniform as a non-state actors, or
correct,
instigate population and things like that, and then do that one part of the army. Okay.
correct.
They were successful in this theory when they attacked Georgia, or when they took over Crimea.
Crimea, Crimea also, and
Crimea and
northern,
Georgia, both
uh,
of them. But
and certain portions
unfortunately,
of the northern, and also certain portions of northern Ukraine, I mean eastern Ukraine in the initial stages.
initial stages. But
Yeah.
now, unfortunately, when this thing happened, West was already ready. So
Mhm.
amount of cyber attack they did, they got the similar cyber attack back, or it got saved. Information warfare didn't work out as much. The other guys beyond the eastern Ukraine, when they started moving in, the non-state actor, they faced resistance. So when that one part came, that time Russia was very sure that they are going to win,
Mhm.
and that's how they came in tanks and all with the ceremonial uniform also, because they thought it was going to be a victory parade.
Correct,
So that was the only play, and that's how the war got extended, because this hybrid thing didn't work.
correct.
So when this hybrid war is going to take place, anyone who is stronger has to defend, will have to use air power. And as the time goes past, anywhere in the world, the cost of body bag will always outweigh the anything else. So the use of drones, use of air power, or anything where a person is not involved and your enemy is getting killed, will be preferred mode of operation.
Yeah, that point is well taken. That point is well taken. In fact, that is what the normal approach would be. I am looking at now that that is a reality that we have. हमको वो करना ही है. हमको एयर पावर को यूज करना चाहिए ताकि हमारी कैजुअलिटीज कम हो, हमारे बॉडी बैग्स कम हो. ऑब्वियसली दोनों साइड्स करेंगी, हमारे जो दुश्मन है वो भी करेंगे, हम भी करेंगे अगर उसमें कैपेबिलिटीज हैं तो. बट इस तरह की लड़ाई में जहाँ की ये इस तरह के टारगेट्स छुपे रहते हैं ना, कई जंगलों के बीच में बोल दीजिए, या यहाँ पर बिल्डिंग्स के बीच में, टनल्स में, एंड व्हाट हैव यू, देयर आर नंबर ऑफ प्लेसेस टू हाइड. तो इस तरह की टेक्नोलॉजी में क्या आप सोचते हैं कि एयर एयर पावर को भी थोड़ा मॉडिफाई करके यूज कर.
So it is getting modified. If you remember when Balakot took place, we dropped those spice bombs. So can you hear me? I can see your picture frozen.
Sorry, I got cut.
Yeah, yeah.
I,
Can you can you
I
can you
got,
hear me?
या आई कैन हियर, आई गॉट कट. सो
Okay,
एयरफोर्स
okay.
एयर पावर को भी हम थोड़ा सा मॉडिफाई करें इन द सेंस कि ऑटोनोमस एयरक्राफ्ट्स आ जाएं, ड्रोन्स का ज़्यादा इस्तेमाल करें, प्रिसिशन गाइडेंस पे ज़्यादा फोकस करें, जैसे कि हमने बालाकोट में किया था. उसमें भी हमने बड़ी
That's
इंटेलिजेंस इंटेलिजेंस ज़्यादा गैदर करी, उस इलाके को ज़्यादा हमने स्टडी किया, पूरा वो करके एंड देन हमने फोकस किया कि हम टेररिस्ट को ही मारेंगे. उसकी वजह से हमारी थोड़ी इंटरनेशनल किरकिरी नहीं हुई जितनी कि इन लोगों की हो रही है, जो कि थोड़ा-सा ब्लाइंडली यूज़ कर रहे हैं इन सब चीज़ों को. हालाँकि उनकी कुछ रिस्ट्रिक्शंस हैं, कुछ मजबूरियाँ ज़्यादा हैं हमारे से, हमारे पास वो ऑप्शंस थे कि हम इस तरह का काम कर सकते थे. बट आई मीन मेरा ओपिनियन जो ये बोलता है कि अब हमको थोड़ा-सा इंटेलिजेंस बेस्ड अगर एयर ऑपरेशन करें, प्रिसिशन एयर ऑपरेशंस करें और एयरफोर्स की जो बाकी कैपेबिलिटीज हैं, उनको इनके ऊपर डिप्लॉय करें, तो शायद हमारे रिजल्ट्स बेटर हों. आई मीन ये मैं आपसे जानना चाहता हूँ.
sir. We like I was also mentioning about Balakot only. If you
हुँ,
remember Balakot, post Balakot, those photographs came when there was a small hole in the roof, and
या
people got inside, the terrorists got inside, killed. We
करेक्ट,
used that spice category of bomb, which was a
वाह!
low caliber bomb, and it didn't land up doing any collateral damage. Only the where it was hit, uh,
करेक्ट,
uh, aimed, it hit at that place. So this
करेक्ट,
kind of thing is always already taking place, because the first thing which I said is you want to save your own people. The second thing which countries with the states these days are worried about is the world opinion.
हुँ,
the
दैट
more
दैट्स राइट.
collateral the more collateral damage that you will end up doing, the more number of people of world opinion will go against you, irrespective of what has happened earlier, how the thing got instigated. So that is the
Absolutely
next thing, the how to stop that collateral damage. So
correct.
that's why all the thing, even in India, the lot of drones and government is also encouraging, and your Atmanirbhar Bharat also, we are manufacturing our own drones. All these
Mhm.
drones, they will, what they will do is they will be a very precise weapon, attack very precise targets, and will also cut down your own casualties. And like
Correct.
some time back, you brought out that now that time has gone past when a human being, a army soldier, should say just Sat Sri Akal and start running, and then the process gets short, or you'll end up with doing a lot of casualties the way happened in Kargil or something. Now, no country does this.
Yeah.
Anyone who has done it, like in Gulf War, first 100 days army didn't move. First 100 days was only bombing, and
Yeah.
thereafter the Iraq was taken over in 4 days with hardly any casualties.
Correct.
Here, Israel went and bombed for 1 month and didn't move, and
Yeah.
now they are moving and occupied Al Shifa.
Correct.
So I think it is already happening in India also, and we will see this thing happening more and more for these two reasons, that you don't want your own casualties and you don't want the collateral damage too much. You want to keep the world opinion also towards you. The use of air power is going to increase.
Yeah, there's no denial on the use of air power increasing, but I thought there would be a nuanced use of air power in a manner that you cater for that world opinion not to get against you. That is one point which I was thinking that maybe अब वो थोड़ा सा हमारी जो अप्रोच में बता देखिए इराक वॉर में तो बड़ा सिंपल सा था उन्होंने उन्होंने पूरे इराक को तहस नहस कर दिया आप देखे होंगे आई मीन इफ यू हैव सीन द विजुअल्स एंड द पिक्चर्स that was the first war which brought the war into the drawing rooms of the people सबके ड्राइंग रूम के अंदर आ गए थे उस समय की जो लड़ाई थी ब्रिजेस ब्लो ऑफ कर दिए थे मतलब उन्होंने तो पूरा इराक को एकदम मटिया मेट कर दिया था उस टाइम पर तो इट वाज लाइक अ वॉक ओवर फॉर एनीवन बट अब वो जो हाइब्रिड वाली जो सिचुएशंस आने लग गई हैं इसी को देखते हुए कि भाई इस तरह से अगर लड़ाई करेंगे ये लोग तो हम तो मारे जाएंगे तो फिर उन्होंने ये शुरू कर दिया है ये जो छुप छुप के अब इसको गुरिल्ला वॉर बोलें या टेरर टैक्टिक्स बोलें या जो कुछ भी बोलें, तो अब हमको मेरे ख़्याल से अभी जो हमारा अप्रोच होना चाहिए था कि हम अपने सारे जो रिसोर्सेज़ हैं यूज़ करें, बट इसमें 2 चीज़ों का बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंस आ गया है, वो है इंटेलिजेंस और इंटेलिजेंस की को मैं कहीं पढ़ रहा था, उसमें लिखा है कि अब क्यूइंग इंटेलिजेंस होनी चाहिए। अब क्यूइंग इंटेलिजेंस का मतलब है कि ह्यूमन इंटेलिजेंस, उसका दायरा बहुत छोटा होता है। फिर उसके बाद ये आ गए ड्रोन्स वगैरह आ गए, उसका भी दायरा उतना बड़ा नहीं होता है। अब ड्रोन्स कितना देख सकता है, जो उसकी रेंज होती है वो लिमिटेड सी होती है। और फिर आ गया एयर का जो डोमेन है वो थोड़ा और लंबा होता है, उसकी रेंज और ज़्यादा होती है एंड फाइनली जो सैटेलाइट इमेजरी है। तो ये क्यूइंग सर्वेलेंस, रेकी और उसके बाद फाइनली इन्फॉर्मेशन को इंटेलिजेंस बनाने वाला जो प्रोसेस है, उस पर हमको अब आई थिंक ज़्यादा एम्फेसिस देना पड़ेगा इस तरह की लड़ाइयों में ताकि हम उनको ढूँढ करके पहले उस इलाके को न्यूट्रलाइज़ करें एंड फिर देन वी सेंड आवर बूट्स ऑन ग्राउंड जब उस इलाके को मॉप अप करना है या जो भी कंट्रोल में लाना है। जैसे कि रादर देन कि ये एक ओवरऑल कारपेट बॉम्बिंग वाला जो सिस्टम है वो शायद अब काम नहीं करेगा बिकॉज़ कारपेट बॉम्बिंग से और टेररिस्ट पैदा होते हैं। ये अल्जीयर्स में भी वही हुआ है, सूडान में भी, हर जगह जो आप एग्ज़ाम्पल्स देखेंगे लिबिया में, सीरिया में, जहाँ-जहाँ भी हुआ है, जब इनोसेंट्स मरने लग जाते हैं, तो भले ही आप राइट साइड में हो, वो war we start losing that war because of the pressures which we get upon ourselves, you know. So I think आप मेरी इस बात से सहमत होंगे कि अब जो है हमको थोड़ा-सा अपने अप्रोच को बदल करके क्योंकि हमें भी शायद इसी तरह की लड़ाई लड़नी पड़े। अगर हम अंदर जाते भी हैं सपोज़ अपने दुश्मनों के खिलाफ, तो वो भी यही इसी तरह की टैक्टिक्स शायद फ़ॉलो करेगा और उनके पास तो भरे पड़े हैं, एलईटी ले लीजिए, जैश-ए-मोहम्मद ले लीजिए, पता नहीं कहाँ-कहाँ से छुप के हमारे कॉनवॉयज़ पे, कॉलम्स पे ये हमला करेंगे। तो उस समय पे आई थिंक हमको थोड़ा-सा अपने स्ट्रैटेजी और टैक्टिक्स दोनों को थिंक बदलने की ज़रूरत होगी। अ, और कुछ आप कहना चाहते हैं एयर पावर के बारे में जो कि बहुत ही ज़रूरी है इस तरह के ऑपरेशंस के लिए?
Listen, you covered almost most of the things. So the for any future war, the air power has to be more precise,
Hmm.
and the time taken in the from the time that you detect a target from your queuing intelligence or whatever, and hitting that target needs to
Hmm.
be cut down as much as possible.
बिल्कुल
Any
ऊडा
war
लूप.
that you will win in the future when you can get inside the enemy's OODA loop.
करेक्ट.
If you
उससे.
see a target, that shooter to target time has to be very less and
Hmm.
lesser than the enemies.
करेक्ट.
So in case
उसमें.
we aim for these two, and like what you brought out, hybrid war is going to be the thing in future, because as the
करेक्ट.
India is becoming stronger, all our neighbor or anyone who wants to fight with us, he will not
करेक्ट.
fight with a stronger enemy with a conventional force. So he will
बिल्कुल.
use hybrid. And
करेक्ट.
why to talk about the weaker chap? Even the stronger enemies are using
वो
hybrid war.
वो
What happened in
बिल्कुल.
Russia and Ukraine.
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल, आई मीन वो कन्वीनिएंट होता है उनके लिए ना.
So we need to be the air power need to be very precise, very focused, and OODA loop has to be very short. But at the
करेक्ट.
same time, we also need to maintain our conventional capability. We
करेक्ट.
cannot lose the sight of that. Lastly, at the end of it, air power can do whatever it can, but lastly, the ground has to be occupied or ground has to be defended, has to be done by army only.
करेक्ट. आर्मी लैंड फोर्सेस.
Land
लैंड और
forces.
लैंड और
So
मरीन
that
डिपेंडिंग.
also the site cannot be lost of that. If you follow up whatever is happening in Israel, and
करेक्ट.
the way they have given the protection to their ground troops who are moving in an area where hardly any opposition is left, but still they got the kind of vehicles and equipment that they got. I think
करेक्ट.
we also should look into these things so that we give provide proper protection to our people, because the air power cannot make you win a war. It will destroy the enemy, but the winning the war and occupying the place has to be done by the ground troops only.
या दैट ऑफ कोर्स इज अ गिवन कि अल्टीमेटली जो झंडा तो फहराना है ना, तो झंडा फहराने के लिए आपको बंदा चाहिए, झंडा के लिए बंदा वहां जाना जरूरी है. उसके बाद जो है हम कह सकते हैं कि हमारे को विक्ट्री मिली है, जीत मिली है, वॉट एवर इट इज. कारगिल कारगिल हाइट्स को सॉफन करने में, उसको पकाने में, उसको बोलते हैं ना पका हुआ आम बनाने में एयरफोर्स ने पूरा अपना जोर लगाया. लेकिन फिर उसको तोड़ने के लिए वहाँ जाना पड़ा हमको ना, पहाड़ियों के ऊपर.
Someone has
तो
to,
ये
yes.
ये एक इंटीग्रेटेड लड़ाई होती है आज के ज़माने में. इट्स आई मीन नो सिंगल सर्विसेज़ कैन क्लेम कि हमारे बिना ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. आई थिंक सभी को मिल कर के इसमें अप्रोच करना पड़ता है. इवन अगर नेवल ऑपरेशंस कुछ अरेबियन सी में हो रहे हैं और हम पाकिस्तान के ऊपर प्रेशर डाल सकते हैं. अभी ओवरऑल तो पाकिस्तान के माइंड्स को हमको अटैक करना है ना, तो हम कहाँ से उसके माइंड को अटैक करें, चाहे सी से करें, चाहे लैंड से करें, वो क्या बोलते हैं हमारी इंजेन्युइटी के ऊपर है. स्ट्रेटेजिक लेवल पे क्या करना है, टैक्टिकल लेवल पे क्या करना है. एक जाते-जाते क्योंकि हमारा ये डिस्कशन हो रहा था, तो मेरे मन में एक एक वो आइडिया आया. हालाँकि मैंने इसके ऊपर 1-2 बार लिखा भी हुआ है. वो आइडिया ये आया है कि हमारी स्ट्रेंथ क्या है? कन्वेंशनल. है ना? आई मीन वो तो गिवन है कि हमारी स्ट्रेंथ ही कन्वेंशनल है. जो हाइब्रिड वॉर में जो हमारा दुश्मन होता है, वो अनकन्वेंशनल है. तो ये एक सिचुएशन ऑफ एसिमेट्री है. एक सिचुएशन ऑफ एसिमेट्री है कि फोर्स में तो एसिमेट्री है, लेकिन स्ट्रैटेजी में उल्टी एसिमेट्री है. वो हमको देखता है, हम उसको नहीं देख पाते हैं. सो इट इज एसिमेट्री फ्रॉम आइदर साइड. तो ये एक बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग सी लड़ाई है कि जिसमें दोनों साइड्स आर हैविंग सम ग्रेट एडवांटेजेस. हम लोगों के पास फोर्स एडवांटेज है और उनके पास इंफॉर्मेशन एडवांटेज होती है, क्योंकि वो छुप के देख रहा है. मैं अभी पढ़ रहा था, कहीं बोल रहा था कि हमारे वाले इनको देख रहे हैं. जब इजरायलीज अंदर घुस रहे हैं, कहाँ से घुस रहे हैं, कैसे घुस रहे हैं, इनको इनका वो पूरा विजन में है वो कि वो कहाँ जा रहे हैं, किस तरफ जा रहे हैं, कौन सी टनल में जा रहे हैं. तो हो सकता है ये होस्टेजेस को भी रिलोकेट करते रहते हो कि भाई इधर आ रहे हैं तो उनको रिलोकेट करके कहीं और टनल के बीच से निकाल के ले गए. तो मेरा एक आइडिया दिमाग में आया, वो ये था कि हमको कोशिश करनी चाहिए कि जो भी लोग ये हाइब्रिड की लड़ाई लड़ते हैं, उनको कन्वेंशनल बनाने की. अब उसको हम कैसे कर सकते हैं कि मान लीजिए हमास ही है, हमास को हम थोड़ा दाना दें, थोड़ा पानी दें और बोले हाँ भाई ये तुम्हारा इलाका है, अब आप तुम अपनी आर्मी खड़ी करो, अपना जो भी करना खड़ी करो, बट ये जो हाइब्रिड वाला काम मत करो। आईसिस को इन्होंने ऐसे ही हराया था। आईसिस अपना बिजनेस करने लग गया, आईसिस अपना इकोनॉमी बजट निकालने लग गया, उसने टैंक ले लिए, उसने गन्स ले ली, आर्टिलरी गन्स ले ली, तो वो से कन्वेंशनल लड़ाई करने लग गया अमेरिका और सीरिया से, सो वो हार गया। तो मेरे ख्याल से इस पर आपकी क्या राय है, और उसके बाद हम क्वेश्चन आंसर्स पे जाते हैं।
No, so you are 100% correct. This hybrid war has got three stages. The first
हम्म।
stage is when the non-state actor is on his own. So
करेक्ट।
now it is in smaller group. He has got a smaller weapon. He goes and raids some place and then runs away from there. It is difficult to spot him. His communication is basically cell phone and all. He travels on bikes and all, and he merges with the crowd. Now the next stage of hybrid war is when this non-state get actors start getting support from a state actor,
हम्म।
or he gets makes a base for himself. So Hamas till 2007 was in the first part
ओके।
when it was just running around and hitting people.
हम्म।
2007 it chased Fatah of PLO out of Gaza. Now
करेक्ट।
started running Gaza. When he started running Gaza, he started getting support from some other countries, probably Iran or Hezbollah or whosoever supported it. So now he was in second stage where, although he is not a state, but he is being supported by a state and his weapons improved.
करेक्ट।
So his weapons improved and weapons became, say, probably he has now some rockets also. He has anti-tank missiles also with him. He has got better protection for his soldiers, and he is paying those soldiers more often. So that is the second stage. Third stage could be that it becomes a state on its own and has his own defense forces and gets into some kind of conventional war. But I hope
देन
that stage should not come. It may become a two-state thing, but defense and all could be left out of it. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's
that's
going to
it.
be
I,
a
I,
big.
I was talking purely from a theoretical point of view that it is better to get him on our stronger side. I mean, on our stronger wicket. हमारी स्ट्रेंथ है कन्वेंशनल में, तो अगर वो कन्वेंशनल लड़ाई लड़ेगा तो हम उसको आसानी से हरा सकते हैं। कन्वेंशनल और अनकन्वेंशनल को जब आपस में भिड़ाते हैं तो उसमें हमेशा डिफिकल्टी होती है, दोनों साइड्स, उसको भी होती है और हमको भी होती है, घाटा हमारा ज़्यादा होता है, हमारा घाटा
No, no,
ज़्यादा होता है।
what you're saying, it does happen. People have written thesis on this, how this hybrid thing keeps growing from semi-hybrid to becomes hybrid with supported by state and then becomes state and gets into conventional war. So
Yeah,
that is the path, that is the graph that it will follow. There's no doubt
you're
about
right.
it.
You're right. Just for the information of the audience, Al Qassam is the force जो कि हमास का अल कसम ब्रिगेड्स हैं, उनके पास टोटल 40,000 के करीब थे बिफोर दी 7 अक्टूबर। 10 ब्रिगेड, 8 या 9 ब्रिगेड हैं टोटल इनके पास, अल कैसम ब्रिगेड जिसका नाम है, और इनके पास अल कैसम रॉकेट्स हैं जो कि अब वो वहीं बनाते हैं टनल्स के अंदर ही फैक्ट्री। तो सम काइंड ऑफ अ कन्वेंशनलिज्म आ रहा था उनके अंदर, थोड़ा और आ जाता तो और बुरी तरह हारते। एनीवे, दे हैव यूज्ड द टनल्स फॉर गुरिल्ला टाइप ऑफ वॉरफेयर, जहां वो सक्सीड कर रहे हैं, लेकिन ज़्यादा दिन नहीं चलेगा। आप वो धीरे-धीरे इन टनल्स को डिटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, उनको एक्सप्लोर कर रहे हैं। आगे चलते हैं। अब एक बार मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा ऑडियंस से, प्लीज़ लाइक करिए और सब्सक्राइब करिए इस वीडियो को और इस प्रोग्राम को, और शेयर करिए जितना ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा हो सकता है। आज भी हमारे पास काफ़ी ऑडियंस आई है, काफ़ी क्वेश्चंस हैं। पहला क्वेश्चन हम लेते हैं मिस्टर जेबी से। Ask Air Marshal sir, if in 1980s, if there were 5 to 10 Khalistani terrorists in my Punjab village of 2000 population, would our Air Force have bombed our village, or our army had gone to clear out terrorists?
Here he is talking about, when he's talking about Punjab and he's talking about within India, and you are talking about our Indian citizens. Air Force has a policy: we do not bomb our own citizen and within our own country. It happened
I
long back in a very rare circumstances when there was no other alternative. Otherwise, no, IF will not go against its own citizen. And here full I'll say salute to army who go in such situation, let it be in JNK or any other place of Punjab that you're mentioning, and no regard to their own life, they try and save the country. As it happened recently in JNK, it happened when we lost two young
So,
captains out there and all. So why
and
has that happened? Like one could have bombed that stupid piece of jungle and everyone would have evaporated out there. But then in India, we don't do that, bombing our own people.
I think it's not comparable. Let's not discuss this any further. You have very clearly highlighted what are our policies and how we deal with it. And इसी वजह से हम टेररिज्म से हारे नहीं हैं. दुनिया में सब जगह टेररिज्म से हार गए हैं. अफगानिस्तान में 3 बार लोग हारे हैं टेररिज्म से. ईरान में हार गए टेररिज्म से. क्या बोलते हैं, आईसिस ने भी काफी देर तक इनको हराया टेररिज्म पे. सो टेररिज्म एक ऐसा हथियार है, इसको डील करने के लिए, जैसा कि अभी हमने बताया, खासतौर से अगर वो अपने देश में है तो उसको डील करना जरूरी होता. हालांकि एलटीटी ने जरूर थोड़ा सा, सॉरी, श्रीलंका ने जरूर एलटीटी के साथ थोड़ा ज्यादती करके उनको खत्म किया था, बट प्रोबब्ली दे हैड नो अदर ऑप्शन, सो दैट्स व्हाई दे डिड इट.
That was also national interest, sir. They didn't have any choice. Back to the wall.
Correct. Next question. Many have criticized the range of Tejas, but isn't its lightweight, its significance for agility? How different is Tejas compared to the Indian Air Force other jets? So you can just give a quick answer to this.
Yes,
Not
I'll
my.
give a very quick answer. I don't know if the person who is asking is from armed forces background or from civil, so I'll make it very simple. That Air Force is a complete organization. It has to cover all aspect of war, and it is like saying that okay, tractor is good or car is good or SUV is good or something else is good or truck is good. Each vehicle has got its own advantages and each vehicle is there for a purpose. So the targets which Su-30 is supposed to hit are different. The targets which Rafale is supposed to hit are different. The target which LCA can hit, LCA is the best suited for that. So that's how the Air Force has got so many different kind of aircraft for different situation and for different target. We cannot compare that okay, LCA is doing this, can the other person also do, because the other person is not, the other aircraft is not designed for that target. Some aircraft are designed for flying at higher level, higher altitude, long distances. Some aircraft are designed to fly at low level and go below the radar. Having the same capability in all the aircraft to the maximum extent possible, it will be very difficult. So that's how you have different kind of aircraft. Whatever LCA is supposed to do, LCA will do the best. I don't have any doubt about it.
Okay, so I think that makes the point very clear. We always have a mix of. देखिए, हमारे पास खाली राइफल नहीं होती है, एलएमजी भी होती है, एमएमजी भी होती है. उसी तरह से एयरफोर्स में भी है. इट इज नॉट बेस्ड ऑन ओनली, दे आल्सो हैव मिसाइल्स, दे आल्सो हैव काउंटर एडी वेपन्स एटसेट्रा, जो जो लैंड फोर्सेस के पास होती है अपने एयरपोर्ट को सेफ गार्ड करने के लिए. तो ये एक मिक्स होता है, एक कंबाइंड लड़ाई का तरीका होता है, जिसमें कई चीज़ें हम नहीं जानते हैं. हमको सिर्फ लगता है कि खाली हवाई जहाज ही है, और भी कई सारी चीज़ें होती हैं एयरफोर्स के इन्वेंट्री में. आई एम श्योर आप लोग जानते भी होंगे. अगला जो सवाल, जो हमने इसका आंसर दे दिया था क्योंकि वो मिक्स था और दोनों का ही पॉइंट एक ही जैसा था. एक्स्ट्रा डिस्ट्रक्टिव टॉल ऑफ एयरफोर्स और सिविलियन पॉपुलेशन, डज इट अचीव मिलिट्री गोल और पॉलिटिकल गोल ऑफ एंडिंग टेररिज्म? Our army, not air force. I think we have already answered this, so we will not go into this. Let's go to the next one. Removing painful sores are very important for growth. Tarun Srivastav. Basically, what he's meaning is that अगर कोई चीज़ ज़्यादा तंग करने लगे तो उसको काट के फेंक देना ही अच्छा होता है. इट इज़ इन कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ हमास कि अगर वो नहीं सुन रहे हैं तो फिर माइट एज वेल बियर द ब्रंट ऑफ व्हाट दे हैव टू गेट. सो ओके.
Like I covered, sir, initially the Israel's philosophy was mowing the grass. Keep the grass under control, keep mowing it over a period of time. So once in a while, they used to go do targeted killing of some Hamas leader and keep the whole thing under control. But now the thing has gone past, and probably Hamas had a reason to do it. They went ahead and killed 1,200 people. So now is the time that Israel hasn't got any choice but to say that we will eradicate Hamas. Anything less than that is suicide for Israel. Like I said, Ben Gurion earlier only said, long back said, that IDF cannot afford to lose a war.
Correct. Correct. This is we are getting a lot of questions on the issue of Gaza and Israel. So we will tackle it. Doesn't matter. Ask as Bharat, which saw 1947 millions deaths displaced, 1971 million Bengali Hindus killed, 1990s Kashmiri Hindus exodus. Can we support expulsion of 1 million people in Gaza overnight before? Definitely not. इसका तो कोई ना कोई आंसर इनको निकालना पड़ेगा. I think you would also agree that we cannot have जेनोसाइड देयर. कुछ जैसे उन्होंने पहले किया था कि बोला कि भी पूरा का पूरा नॉर्थ गाजा खाली कर दीजिए. द एम वाज दैट कि गाजा सिटी तक कैप्चर करके उनको शायद अक्ल आ जाएगी, उसके बाद काम हो जाएगा. अगर काम नहीं होता है, अगर इनके होस्टेजेस नहीं रिलीज होते हैं, then I suppose they will have to do some kind of a arrangement. Otherwise, they can't go ahead with a genocide kind of a thing. The whole environment will change in that case. आपको
It
कुछ
is,
बोलना है?
huh, sir, it is like not expulsion of 1 million people of Gaza overnight by force. If Israel said that vacate North Gaza, why did he
Correct.
say vacate North Gaza? Because if you look at the map, North Gaza is towards where the main Israel is. From
Hmm.
North Gaza only, they were getting people coming out. People are coming out of tunnel and attacking Israel. From
Correct.
North Gaza only, the rockets were coming. So they want to get into North Gaza, destroy all those tunnels and all, and whatever the military capability Hamas has. In in south part of Gaza is facing Egypt, or the Israel also doesn't have as many population in South Gaza. So Israel doesn't expect too many military activity in South Gaza. That's why they're telling them to move to South Gaza, and we will clear out this North Gaza part of it. That doesn't mean the expulsion. And at the end of it, I'll still say which I stuck, and sir, you're trying to moderate that. It is national interest. It is a
Yes.
question of survival.
Yeah.
And
No,
if the survival is
I
at stake, that country will do whatever it can, and our country will also do whatever we can.
I look at this whole thing that in case if they have to manage the entire battle, see the a problem with Gaza है कि उसका इलाका बहुत छोटा सा है. I mean 12 by 42 किलोमीटर का इलाका at the widest and 6 by 42 at the narrowest है. तो अगर इस तरह का इलाका है जिसमें 20 लाख लोग रह रहे हैं, 2 million people are 2 million plus है in fact लोग रह रहे हैं, तो आप समझ सकते हैं उतनी पॉपुलेशन शायद उतनी ही इजराइल में है जो उसके पास बहुत बड़ा इलाका है. तो इतने इतने छोटी सी जगह में इतनी पॉपुलेशन का को मैनेज करना भी एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है. मुझे लगता है अगर ये साउथ गाजा में कुछ भी करेंगे तो इनको जरूर रीइंफोर्समेंट कैंप्स बनाने पड़े, सॉरी रिफ्यूजी कैंप्स बनाने पड़ेंगे ताकि वो उनको टारगेट ना करें. आपने देखा अगर आप गाजा का मैप देखेंगे तो उसमें कई जगह पे इन्होंने रिफ्यूजी कैंप्स बना रखे हैं इस समय, स्पेशली एनजीओज के मदद से. तो उस तरह का कुछ अरेंजमेंट करेंगे और उनको वो नो नो बॉम्बिंग जोन या ऐसा कुछ करेंगे और फिर बाद में धीरे धीरे साउथ गाजा में एंटर करेंगे. साउथ गाजा की पॉपुलेशन भी बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गई है बिकॉज ऑफ दी हालांकि मुझे कुछ रिपोर्ट्स मिल रहे हैं कि लोग अब वापस नॉर्थ गाजा में जा रहे हैं, नॉर्थ गाजा की तरफ जा रहे हैं. तो कुछ इनको मैनेज करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि कैंप्स में ये लोग कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं ना इनको कि भाई कौन कितने लोग हैं अंदर, क्या कर रहे हैं बच्चे, वाइफ्स, वो उनको शील्ड की तरह नहीं इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, तो शायद इनको लड़ना ज्यादा आसान हो जाएगा. कुछ तो इस तरह का प्रोग्राम बनाएंगे ये लोग. ठीक है. जगप्रीत बत्रा, in my high bowl area in Ludhiana, high bowl area, I look like I I looks like up or Bihar with little bit of Punjab. Okay, I mean this is something not related to our topic. Batra ji, first of all, thank you for joining. But अब ये लुधियाना में बिहार ज्यादा हो गया, इसके लिए कौन जिम्मेवार है? वो तो अब आप सभी जानते हैं कैसे हुआ. लोग लेबर चाहिए था, लेबर सबसे ज्यादा यहीं से मिलता था. झारखंड से अभी लोग ज्यादा आने लगे. अब ये जो टनल वाला है इसमें भी 15 लोग, अब बिहार भी खत्म हो गया, 15 लोग झारखंड से आए हुए. उस 41 में 15 लोग झारखंड के हैं. तो अब तो ये पूरा डायनेमिक्स ही चेंज हो रहा है कि हम लोग खुद काम नहीं करना चाहते हैं और बिहार और झारखंड और छत्तीसगढ़ से लोगों को बुला रहे हैं. तो इसमें कुछ गलती तो हमारी भी है ना, कि हम लोग अपना काम करना ही छोड़ दिए हैं, हम बाहर जा रहे हैं
सर
कनाडा और
सर ये
ऑस्ट्रेलिया में।
अच्छा, ये तो ह्यूमन माइग्रेशन है। इनफैक्ट
हाँ।
बत्रा जी को ही शुड फील प्राउड दैट पीपल आर कमिंग टू लुधियाना from
हम्म।
all over the world. People from the less developed place go to more developed places. Entire Africa is moving to Europe. So if
करेक्ट।
Bihari is moving to, for whatever reason, I'm no disrespect to Bihar, they are very nice people, but if people who are not from that well-to-do background and are moving to Punjab for a better opportunity, it is a normal thing, it is a natural thing to happen. And as a person from Ludhiana, you should be proud that your place is so good that people from outside are coming and helping you. The entire America, people go from all over the world to America and stay there and make America better. Probably these people will make Ludhiana better.
Yeah, I mean, his second comment somehow gives that answer, which is Jagpreet Batra ji, today young Punjabi sons and daughters just want to go away from Punjab to Canada, Australia. ये भी तो उसी तरह की बात हो गई ना, कि आप ज़्यादा
Human
डेवलप जगह
migration.
पे आप ज़्यादा जगह बेटर डेवलप्ड जगह पे जाना चाहते हैं। वो अलग बात है कि बाद में शायद आप रियलाइज़ करें कि पंजाब भी उतना ही वेल डेवलप्ड है, वापस आएँगे। और ये मेरा मानना है कि आप लोग सब वापस आएँगे, क्योंकि भारत जो है अब जल्दी कैच अप कर रहा है। अब वो भारत नहीं रहा जो पहले था। अब भारत की जो उड़ान है थोड़ा बहुत तेज हो गई है। 10 साल के अंदर 5वें से अगर हम 11वें से अगर 5वें पे आ गए हैं, और 4 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी तो हमारी अभी कुछ दिनों पहले डिक्लेयर हो गई है। अब ये जर्मनी-वर्मनी ज़्यादा ज़्यादा दिन तक हमारे सामने टिकेंगे भी नहीं। तो पर कैपिटा इनकम भी बढ़ेगी, जो कि हमारी कमज़ोरी है इस समय। तो मेरे ख़्याल से एक ह्यूमन माइग्रेशन, जैसा कि तिवारी जी ने बोला है, वो बिल्कुल इट इज़ पार्ट ऑफ दैट प्रोसेस, एंड रिवर्स माइग्रेशन भी होगा। I think that also people should be aware of. Uh, uh, I don't know. This is. It looks like as if classification of war into conventional and non-conventional should be written off. Even a single bullet fired from the enemy should be taken as war. He's your supporter, because he's my father also, and he's from the Air Force. So, he's batting for the Air Force. That's good. That's a good spirit, I would say. Then we have next question. Yeah, खुद जब बत्रा जी बोल रहे हैं वो दौर नहीं रहा जी, यहाँ की अच्छी जॉब को भी। और ओके, एनीवे, लेट्स गो टू। Yes, agreed, Air Marshal sir. Very little response time now in decision making. Basically, he was talking about your OODA loop, that you have to
Yes.
reduce the decision time. Okay, there are many discussions happening between them. Let's go to this question. The audience themselves are having a lot of heated discussion. We will not go into that. How best air power country has without how best air power country has without infantry? No war or conflict is decisive. Ground has to be held in control. Ukraine crisis and Hamas crisis, Afghan, Kargil have been seen. I think he's reiterating the Air Marshal has already covered this particular issue, that ultimately you require the land forces to secure your victory, whichever way it is you want to take it. अगर आप देखिए रशिया में क्या है, उनके पास ट्रूप्स नहीं है, तो इसलिए वो प्राइवेट मिलिट्री कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स को लगा रहे हैं, चेची फाइटर्स को लगा रहे हैं। कौन सा है दूसरा, जो जिस प्रिमोगोजिन वाला जो वैगनर है, वैगनर को लगा रहे हैं। इसी तरह से और भी प्राइवेट मिलिट्री कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स हैं जिनको लोग यूज कर रहे हैं। मिडिल ईस्ट की सारी कंट्रीज प्राइवेट मिलिट्री कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स लगाती हैं, चाहे वो यूएई हो, चाहे वो सऊदी अरेबिया हो। दे आर ऑल यूजिंग प्राइवेट मिलिट्री कॉन्ट्रैक्टर, एंड देयर आर कंपनीज जो लैटिन अमेरिका से इनको ला रही हैं फाइटर्स को, या फिर साउथ एशिया से ला रही हैं। तो
So
ये तो एक कॉमन ट्रेंड हो गया
just
है।
just to support what RP sir is saying, and I have
हम्म।
seen it really happening. I
या
was in Afghanistan, posted in Afghanistan in 2007, 2009.
या
None of the Western forces moved out of their camp till the time they were very sure that there is no one around there to shoot at them. They had
हम्म।
those in 2007 and 9, they had those small hand launched drone which used to go and look behind every stone and see in case there is no Taliban. French
करेक्ट।
didn't do it in 2009. Their French special forces moved into a valley where they didn't have drone, and the Taliban came and sat next to him. Air power also couldn't help. So what I'm saying, that air power will help you in winning the battle. and with the least number of casualties.
Correct.
There is a province in Afghanistan called Helmand Province, which the
Mhm.
Britishers are supposed to look after it.
Yeah,
Britishers couldn't look after it, so American Marines came. They had AV-8B, the aircraft, with them. They went and plowed the entire Helmand Province. Within a week, Helmand Province was free of Taliban. They handed it over to British. British didn't use the air power as much. Within 6 months, again it was with Taliban. Again, these Marines came, and within 1 week, they chased all the Taliban out. The
yeah,
thing is, if you want to occupy, the army is required to occupy. Without army, there is no victory. You cannot sit at home and say, I'm bombing that place, so I'm victorious, and now my rule is running there. If you have to run your rule, then you have to send your army. But the aim
correct.
should be the least casualty. That's what
Absolutely.
everyone is following. That's what Israel, small country, following. That's what America, a big country, is following. So I don't see any reason why should we send our young people, young officers and young men to get killed. Why can't we make a policy that first Air Force will go and resolve everything, and then we'll go and occupy the place
Correct.
without
Uh,
any loss? We need to respect. We need to avoid any body bags coming home. We need to make sure that no captain or anyone else dies anymore.
yeah, next question is ask Air Marshal sir, what is the role of helicopters in flushing out terrorists? Sir, in today's scenario, hoax effective? How it should have been, how effective they are, not hoax effective.
No, they are being used, and I'm very sure that our Air Force also must be using it. Even our this advanced light helicopter ALH has got lot of optical instrument and night vision goggles, etc., fitted in that, with which they can flush out, they can spot the thing, uh, terrorist hidden there. Yes, it is being used, and it should
Yeah,
be used.
yeah. See, the helicopters are being used. That's why the army has got these helicopters also, and this is basically for this particular purpose कि भाई उनको एक तो सर्वेलेंस के लिए यूज करते हैं, एयर मोबिलिटी के लिए यूज करते हैं। अगर कहीं नहीं जल्दी पहुंच सकते हैं, जैसे बोला ना डिसीजन टाइम होता है, उनको क्विकली पहुंचना है, तो उनको कहीं एक जगह से दूसरी जगह ले जाने के लिए जो एएलएचएस हैं, जिनके पास छोटी मशीन गन्स भी हैं, उनको हम किसी इलाके को न्यूट्रलाइज करने के लिए, फ्लश आउट करने के लिए, जंग खास तौर से जो जंगल का इलाका होता है जहाँ पे सर्च करना बहुत मुश्किल होता है। अभी जो हमारे जो 2 जो हमारे यंग ऑफिसर्स और 3 बहादुर जवान जिनको वीरगति को प्राप्त हुए हैं, उन वो भी एक जंगल में ऑपरेट कर रहे थे। तो जंगल में क्या होता है कि आपके दाएँ-बाएँ कुछ दिखता नहीं। तो ऐसे समय में अगर हम इनका इस्तेमाल करते हैं, तो एक तरह से उस इलाके को हम सैनिटाइज़ करते हैं सो दैट हमारा जो फर्दर मूवमेंट होता है वो उतना आसान हो जाता है। तो ये यूज़ होते हैं, ये हर ऐसे ऑपरेशन में इनको यूज़ किया
Or
जाता है।
yeah, and these are our own equipments. We are
करेक्ट।
producing our own. India is producing our own. We don't have to
हुँ,
depend on any country. Our own helicopters are doing these jobs.
करेक्ट। अ, next question is by Shritik Kothari. Ask, we are looking to buy Al-Tariq guided missiles from UAE. I'm sure we could have developed them or bought them from elsewhere. How effective, affordable is our strategy of diplomacy via purchases? This is a question which is, I think it's a good question. We need to answer this.
See, there are two things. Uh, it is always better, like what you have brought out. It is always better to have your own weapon system developed within your own country, because now we will be developing it as per our requirement. Whenever you buy something from outside, you are dependent on that country, and for any modification or any upgradation, again you will have to go back to that country, and that technology has not come to you. Probably the government has felt at this particular time this missile is very much required. That's how we are getting into kind of collaboration or buying it from them. Even if the missile comes, and slowly it will we will get used to that missile, we will learn about that missile, and slowly we will develop our own technology.
Correct.
You also must understand, because a lot of people have asked this question, and it is very important for everyone to understand. In the war, there is no point in coming second.
Yeah,
If you're fighting a war, you have to fight the war, and you have to come first every time.
absolutely. There's no place
So
for another.
there is no place for an hour. So in case there is a requirement for a good missile, which for the time being we cannot produce ourselves, although in due course of time we will do it, then it is much better to get it from outside, because you are fighting the war and there is no, the other side is not thinking, not giving you any mark that you are fighting with your own weapon only. So we need to give our forces the best thing which is possible, because there is no point in coming second.
You see, it's a mix of weapons based on our capabilities. तो इस समय जो भी होता है, हम जो शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए चाहिए उसको इंपोर्ट कर लेते हैं, जो लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए चाहिए उसको डेवलपमेंट साइकिल में डाल देते हैं। हर एक को टाइम लगता है, डेवलपमेंट में 30-30 साल लग जाते हैं। तेजस को ही देख लीजिए कितना टाइम लगा हमको डेवलप करने में। सो उसमें भी अभी इंजन के लिए हम अभी भी स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं। हो सकता है हमारी डील हो जाए 414 की या फिर फ्रेंच इंजन की। जो जो भी हमारा सामने आएगा हम करते हैं। आई थिंक दैट्स अ नॉर्मल प्रोसीजर हाउ नेशंस, only thing we are speeding it up. And that's the final question, last question. I'm not expecting you to answer it, but I just flashed it for the audience. Ask Nitin, because we have covered this particular issue, आपने इसके बारे में बात भी की है. Netanyahu, Biden again said that goal is no Hamas again. How will this be achieved without ending ceasefire and continuing a long war in Gaza? Your thoughts on future of this conflict in Gaza? uh, जैसा कि अगर आप कुछ बोलना चाहें तो बोल सकते हैं,
So
अदरवाइज
I'll just very short answer. Hamas is an ideology. The ideology is destruction of Israel. If US with all its forces at its command couldn't destroy Taliban, which is also ideology, in 20 years, then how can Israel, a much smaller country, can destroy Hamas? You will have a victory, you will have peace for some time, but saying that we will eradicate Hamas ideology is kind of far-fetched.
I think Marshal Tiwari has covered this question quite comprehensively. आइडियोलॉजी को ख़त्म करना मुश्किल होता है। हालाँकि आइडियोलॉजी भी धीरे-धीरे फेड होती हैं। अभी इस समय जो पिछले 30-35 साल से जो दौर चल रहा है, वो रिलीजियस आइडियोलॉजी का है और वो बड़ा अभी अभी भी स्ट्रॉन्ग है। हमें हमें लग रहा था कि 40वें साल में ये डाउन हो जाएगा, लेकिन ऐसा दिख नहीं रहा है। वर्ल्ड ओवर आई थिंक जो रिलीजियस आइडियोलॉजी है, अभी भी काफ़ी जोर पकड़े हुए है। आपने देखा है अभी-अभी नीदरलैंड्स में इलेक्शन हुआ है, वहाँ पे एक राइट विंग इलेक्शन जीत गए हैं और वो प्रो इंडिया भी थे काफ़ी ऑन सर्टेन इश्यूज़। तो ये आइडियोलॉजी कभी मरती नहीं है। हाँ, हमास के जो करंट लीडरशिप है, मे बी एलिमिनेटेड एंड फिनिश्ड। सो कैसे करेंगे? लॉन्ग वॉर तो करना ही पड़ेगा। जैसा कि मैंने बोला कि कुछ ये मैनेज करेंगे कैंप्स में ले जाकर के बच्चों को, चिल्ड्रन को, एंड देन if they don't move by that particular time, they will follow what they did in North Gaza. फिर वो वही करेंगे जो नॉर्थ गाजा में किया था। वो बोलेंगे कि हमने तो टाइम दिया था आपको 4 दिन का कि आप अपने-अपने इस कैंप्स में आ जाइए, बच्चे और जो भी आना चाहते हैं। अगर उसके बाद जो नहीं आए, वो हम सोचेंगे कि वो दुश्मन है, उनको मारेंगे और वो अपना एयर पावर यूज़ करेंगे। ठीक है, हाँ, वही है कि किस तरह से यूज़ करेंगे वो देखना पड़ेगा। विद दैट थैंक यू वेरी मच सर एंड फॉर कमिंग टू आवर शो। थैंक यू टू द ऑडियंस। दोबारा एक बार अपील है आप लोगों से, लाइक करिए, वॉच करिए, सब्सक्राइब करिए हमारे चैनल को। हम कोशिश करते हैं कि अलग-अलग चीज़ों के बारे में डिस्कस करें, ताकि आप लोगों को किसी भी लड़ाई की पूरी जानकारी मिले। खाली हम इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन नहीं, खाली हम डिप्लोमेसी पे नहीं या खाली हम आर्मी पे नहीं, हम कोशिश करते हैं नेवल डिस्कशन भी हो, एयर डिस्कशन भी हो और एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव डायलॉग आप लोगों के साथ करना चाहते हैं। इसी के साथ आप सभी को दोबारा जय हिंद, जय भारत एंड थैंक यू टू यू एयर मार्शल तिवारी।
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me here. Thanks a lot.